Yeah, clear that throat, baby.
Okay.
2019.
Yo, what's up? Welcome to the Average Bros Fantasy Football Podcast. Well, we're just a couple of average bros with above average fantasy football knowledge. This is a little special postseason episode here. It's your boy T here with the crew.
It's your boy Amok.
And it's your boy Mike. I was not looking at my phone.
God, New Year and you still haven't changed, Mike.
Dude, I'm
New
the
Year,
best.
better.
Mike.
New Year's the best, Mike.
First episode 2019 or what?
First
think
episode
so.
2019.
First.
It only took us 20-something days.
2019.
Do we even have a podcast?
Should we do it
anymore?
like 2019-1? It's like we're the Bible.
Oh yeah. We'll start over.
Yeah, we're starting over.
This is the New Testament.
This is the New
bitch.
Testament. This is the 2019 Testament.
This is the fucking. Oh my gosh, the dang Patriots are in the
Again. I'm over
Super
it.
Bowl.
I'm over it.
rough.
I quit this podcast. I'm over football.
Yeah.
I know, man. I just hate the Patriots. Every year I tell my buddy, I'm like, bro, dude, Brady's due. It's going to end 1 year. And he called me. He's like, bro, the Patriots in the Super Bowl again. And I'm like, he's like, you always say they're going to not be good. And he's just the downfall of Brady. And I'm like, yeah, bro, but one of these years I'm going to fucking be right. All right. It might be 2025, but I'll be right.
Hey,
see
dude, it's like every year, and then finally the 1 year, he's like, "All right, dude, I guess Tom Brady's just gonna like next year. You say you don't say it, then he's gonna fucking fall off. You're cursing yourself. You're doing it to you.
dude, yeah.
Did
to
Brady
all
get
of
like
us.
Invisalign or something, though? You see the post conference, his teeth were all straight and perfect. And he's like,
No, he looked high.
he looked
so
stoned.
messed up. Dude, that AFC Championship game, they were like, "What?"
They're like, you just went through a battle. It was a war zone out there. What do you got to say? I just want to say hi to my wife. I'm tired.
That's exactly what it sounded like.
Fishing's boring.
His son's name's Jack.
Dude,
Just want to see little Jack.
he's just out there picking flowers. He must have been concussed or something. Do you think?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I
Maybe.
mean, I don't know. He did take that hit to the head for the roughing the passer.
Maybe he was taking that
they hit the
PED
shoulder.
that you like to take. What's it called? The Extenze?
Extends.
Does it make you cloudy headed like that?
I'm gonna plead the fifth on this one.
Defer.
Pass.
So yeah, let's talk about these playoff games, the conference championship. So you got the Patriots cheating their way to an overtime victory.
Pretty crazy.
But I'd
Offsides.
rather them lose in the championship. I feel like it hurts that much more
Yeah.
if they lose.
What, in the
It's just
Super
I
Bowl?
just saw
Yeah.
a video of like the ref coming up to Tom Brady and like you could always change the word, you know.
I called you.
Yeah, you showed me that one. Reading the lips, you could always like alter that somehow. But
Ruh-roh.
Sound like a D.
Ruh-roh.
but
Ruh-roh.
it
Tyler's
looks
trying
like
to
the
make a
guy's telling.
sentence.
It looks like the ref's telling Tom Brady like, "Oh, don't worry, I got you, bro." And it was like third down. Then
It's
then
crazy.
they end up calling the offsides, which I don't know. I think is ridiculous, but.
Yeah, I was so excited to send you that I called you. Dude, I'm about to send you something.
Click.
Yeah,
like,
that's
"Tom,
pretty bad.
I'll throw a flag at the right moment.
But even then, it's like I think it was the divisional game where they got the picture of the ref coming up and like hugging Tom Brady. It's like, dude, what refs come up and hug a fucking quarterback? You think Cam Newton's getting hugs? You think
No,
Deshaun
heck no.
Watson's getting hugs?
Yeah, but
You think Ryan fucking Tannehill is getting hugs?
no, definitely not.
No, nobody's getting hugs, bro.
Yeah, but if you saw Tom,
Only fucking Tom fucking Brady.
okay, but if you seen Tom Brady on the field, you'd probably want to hug him.
No, I'd kick him in the fucking dick, and then he'd look at me and be like, "Why?" And I'd be like, "You know why."
Why? I just want to see my wife.
Dude, hey, fuck you and fuck Giselle.
I don't know. I just think the NFL and the refs. You shouldn't have a referee out there officiating the game if he's going to come and run and hug one of the quarterbacks. Like, hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Can we discuss why all referees are 75 years old? Maybe
know.
that's why they're
That's a
blowing
thing.
calls.
Dude?
Like, shouldn't these referees be like, I don't know, maybe late 30s, 40s, able to see, move? They're all like 70 years old, like just struggling
Yeah.
to get to a play.
It's like, what's the guys that like Gene Statutor? This is his 23rd as an NFL referee, 23rd season. It's like, bro, how old is this guy?
I'm surprised there never been a ref like collapse, like just in the heat, like middle of like one of like
You
the
know what's-
September games, October when it's hot as hell,
Yeah,
and they're just like, oh, It's like,
it's crazy to think that the rules have changed. They change year to year drastically. Could you imagine if you've been a ref for 23 seasons? How much like, dude, you're probably still officiating the game the way that you first learned it.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
obviously, you got to change it, but you're gonna have those.
so they were refereeing that back in 1940. These referees.
I mean, it's just.
Do you hear they might change the rule to you can review penalties now? They're
I
discussing
think
that.
I've seen some people talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's pass interference. They're talking about for sure that'd be the one, but then they're discussing maybe other
I mean,
ones.
it's good. I mean, it's gonna slow down the game a little bit.
I wonder if they'll give him an extra challenge if there's penalties involved too.
I heard that they're talking about using different color challenging flags and stuff like that. I don't know.
I think it'd be good.
I think it'd be good though, yeah, because just
I bet you every Saints fan thinks that's a good idea right
but
now.
I guarantee you they won't do it because then how do you rig a game? You can't.
You can. Let's just talk about that Saints call though. That was fucking wild. I
Yeah,
can't
it was
believe they
pretty
didn't call
nuts.
that
Yeah.
pass interference.
Yeah, he just got blown away.
He was
It's like, bro, the guy literally runs full speed into this guy. He doesn't even turn around. He just runs right into the guy and hits him right in the chest. And then the ball goes like over their head like
what I
2
thought.
seconds
What I
later.
thought was like it wasn't. I don't think it was funny, but it was like the guy was like literally sitting there mocking the crowd after the. Did you see him?
Yeah.
He's like looking at the crowd, like kind of like teasing him and talking shit. I'm like, bro, you just like you didn't do a good play. You like literally should have drew a penalty and like cost the game, but you're sitting there like trying to egg the crowd on.
Like as if you were the saving grace there.
It's like if he would have just turned around, that guy literally could just ran and picked the ball and took it to the house. Like if he would just turn around because the ball was coming like right for him.
It's like how come even in the same situation, how come you never see a defender where like they do a PI and they're just like, yeah, that was me. It's
My
like no
bad.
matter what, they're always like.
Well, yeah, you got to sell that too. Like, dude,
Like
when I-
sometimes you grab the guy, fuck that.
when I played
You got it.
soccer,
Yeah.
when I played soccer, and the ball, like if you say you kick the ball out, like every time you like our coaches would teach you, like as little kids, like no, you say that it was our ball, like every time, just to try and get that throw in,
Yeah.
and it would work a lot of times. You know, if you put your hand up first, sometimes the refs aren't paying attention, they see that shit and they'll give it to you. So it's like, I mean, I get why they do that, but
So one of the worst calls ever, or what?
probably.
All I
Yeah.
know is I feel bad for
No.
Saints fans because if I was being a Dolphins fan, if that was the reason why we lost to go to the Super Bowl, I'd be fucking breaking shit. I'd be so salty.
All I know is the
for
Chiefs
the
are dead to
longest
me.
time.
It feels like they fixed the catch rule a little bit better this year, though.
Miami did its job by the 6-second miracle, giving them home field advantage, and the Chiefs couldn't fucking close.
How about
Chiefs are
That's
dead to
true,
me.
yeah.
How about Julian Edelman being like every 2 plays it was just a slow-mo replay of Julian Edelman. Those fucking red gloves.
What?
You know what I'm talking about?
No, not at
Dude,
all.
it seemed like every
I was like letting you go, and then I was like, wait, what?
Where's he going with this?
Where's it going?
Yeah, dude, it seemed like every other play it was like they were like, "Oh, we're going to have to review this." And it was whether or not Julian Edelman made a catch or not. Or like he
Oh yeah, okay.
It was like 3 plays in a row.
Like I wanted to be like, that's not a catch, but in my head I was like, God damn it, it's a fucking catch.
Yeah.
Oh, I was about to smack your fucking dad's friend. That guy was making me upset.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah. That was driving
My
me
Mike?
nuts. I was grinding my teeth so bad.
I don't think
Dude,
I hate the
this-
Patriots per se. I think I just hate the fans.
Me too. Dude, this guy, Tyler, this guy would have drove you insane. He was literally not watching the game. He's scrolling through Instagram. As soon as the Patriots score, they start doing the replay. This fool gets up and he starts going, Gronky, Gronky, Gronky. Oh, dude, I was getting so furious. And then he started recording, like when they were doing the replay, he's recording and he's going up to our faces, dude. And we're all just like sitting there, like with our arms folded. And bro, I was getting so fucking mad. I was hiding it, but oh man. I was upset. Oh, I was gonna fuck him. I mean, what?
Oh,
whoa.
So Super Bowl predictions?
What is the line?
I think it's 3.
Is it 3? Mike, can you look up the line real quick?
Yeah, do something with your life. Start again.
Yeah, we're
The
good.
video's
We're good.
good.
Okay, my bad, guys. I fucking smashed the keys.
Smash.
I tell Mike to
And
look
we're
up
back.
the line on the Super Bowl. And he just.
If you guys hear a bunch of noises and then click and then a cut, that's because the mad scientist.
All right, what
So
is the
they just
line
kept-
here? I would assume the Patriots are going to be favored. I saw like a stat like the Patriots have been favored for like 60 games
I
straight
gotta,
or
yeah,
something
you got to
like
figure
that.
the Patriots are favored in
They
this.
weren't favored on the opening line of the like AFC game.
Against the Chiefs. Yeah, that was the first
Plus-
game in like 5 years they haven't been favored. So
I know. I was like, it's like everyone's like, not everyone, but some people were like, oh, the Patriots are the underdogs, and I'm like, are they really the underdogs though against the Chiefs? I know it's at home, but I mean, they've been the
No-
Super Bowl champs
no
like
Eng-
6 times. Like they've been to the AFC Championship like
5 times.
100 times.
New
It's like-
England is favored -2.5.
Favored by 2.5.
Rams money line.
Do it.
Rams have a Super Bowl win.
They be
I'm calling it right now. A Super Bowl MVP Robert Woods.
57.5 over.
I like
under.
that's a good one.
What are the odds? What are the odds are on that?
That's a good one. There's got to be at least like
Crazy.
12 to 15 to 1 on that one probably.
Yeah.
Still $5 on 10. Throw
$5.
10
Pat
bucks on it.
Mahomes, dude.
You know why? Because it's like mostly the quarterbacks will get it. Like if the receivers is a good game, but Woods gets those end arounds, maybe he takes one or two of those end rounds for a touchdown. Super Bowl MVP Robert Woods.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
I don't know.
I'll say
Honestly, I
5%.
think the Rams win, but still Tom Brady wins MVP. They're just like, oh, we're just gonna give Tom Brady MVP. He deserves it.
All right, I'm done with this talk. All right, so we're kind of just gonna kind of little freestyle, but kind of just discuss some kind of things we learned this year. Maybe even kind of discuss a quick like top 5 at some positions if we get into that. Just kind of like what we learned in reviewing this year. This is our first year doing a podcast. It's kind of our first year fully doing like analytics, statistics, magistics, all that. So
What's a majestic?
You wouldn't know.
if you have to ask, you can't afford
I
it.
was about to make a reference, but I didn't.
What was I supposed to say back?
I was going to say something about a penis, but I.
Jesus, Mike.
Christ.
I
we're
refrained,
so
I refrained,
always
dude.
talking
I
about.
refrained.
You're getting
dick,
better. You're
dude.
framed. At least you didn't say it.
Yeah, I stopped. I stopped myself. So, like, obviously, we are learning a lot of new things. You're learning statistics. I'm learning about less dick pics.
Touche.
Yeah.
Dude, new year, new you.
Dude,
I like it.
honestly, I'm probably the best version of myself.
Dude, honestly, like,
Get
honestly, bro.
Let's get on
All
track
right, let's
here.
start with. You guys want to start with the kind of like what we maybe learned at the quarterback position? Go from there.
Yeah, like I said, we're just gonna talk about some things that we learned. Just try to help you guys out. First, if you don't follow us, Average Bros _ fantasy football on the Instagram. We've been doing a lot better on that. Posted some things. I know Anthony's got a lot of good articles he's been posting on there lately. So
Yeah, content's been flying. It's hot.
it's hot.
It's fuego, mijo.
But yeah, one of the things, and we even preached this in draft season, is like, we talked about, weight on a quarterback. So, we're just looking at some numbers here on, where the quarterbacks finished and, what their ADP was for the round. So, I think it was Rodgers was, the consensus number one. Usually he was going to rounds like, 2 and 3. I think he finished QB 6. And then you got Deshaun Watson who was going to rounds like 3 and 4. He finished as QB 4. So, but then you got quarterbacks like Mahomes, Matt Ryan, and Big Ben. They're finished as the top 3 quarterbacks, and they all got drafted in rounds 10 or later. So, I mean, it's like we said, you just got to wait on drafting these quarterbacks. I mean, I know we were in some leagues where Deshaun Watson got drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
Back in
What?
first round, and it's like
I think Mahomes is going
That's
to
so
be
crazy.
in some. You're going to see Mahomes go in the first round next year in some leagues for sure.
for sure,
I think so.
100%. You might see Mahomes go number 1 overall in some leagues. Some
That
people are
wouldn't
going to
surprise me actually. in
some people are going to
leagues.
do it. You know what I'm saying? It just shows. I mean, like you said, we touched on it. You wait on these quarterbacks. I mean, like I said, Mahomes was finished QB1. He's round 11. Matt Ryan, QB2, round 10. Big Ben, QB3, round 10. Luck, QB5, round 8. So and those are 4 of the top 5 quarterbacks were drafted in round 8 or later. So wait on quarterbacks. Try to stack up. Try to grab those skill positions. Let someone else reach for a quarterback, and then you could come back here and grab a QB1.
I mean, I'm
the
on
double-digit
Mahomes real
rounds.
quick. I mean, do you think? Do you think this is pretty much the ceiling? Do you think he can go up? I mean, how do you guys kind of? I mean, I know it's early and there's a whole offseason and stuff, but
I mean, he broke crazy records. What did he get? 10 touchdowns in, like the first 2 games or something?
yeah, and that's something we're just got to look at too. I mean, there was those first games where he had like you said, like I think it was more. It was like 14 touchdowns in 3 games or something. He had 6 touchdowns twice, right?
So yeah, it's something crazy.
Yes, I mean you got to figure out like how that's going to level out. Maybe there's some more rushing production too. They had 4. I think they averaged 4.5 touchdowns a game, which was like almost a full touchdown above everyone else in the league. So maybe they get better at defense as well. So that's something where maybe they don't have to throw as much next year, and he doesn't have to air it out as much.
Yeah.
I think if he gets above 50 touchdowns, he's probably pressing for the Peyton Manning record at that point. So I mean, Peyton Manning was what 56 or 55.
Yeah, it's like I think it was like 52 or 54, somewhere in that range. I think I think this is the ceiling of what we see at Mahomes. I think next year he does good. I mean, even if next year if he comes out and he throws for 4,500 yards and like 44 touchdowns, still a monster season. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's hard to throw 50 touchdowns. I mean, it's only been done by three players ever, and I don't think it's ever been. I don't think there's ever been a back-to-back. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's ever been a back-to-back 50 plus touchdown season from quarterbacks. So that's a lot. That's like you're looking at 3+ touchdowns every.
Yeah, it's
every
going to
week.
be hard. I mean, it was kind of hard imagining Gurley being a little more efficient than last year, but he actually was. So I mean, yeah, there's the realm of possibility to where it happens, but I think more than likely, like you said, I think he's going to probably hit 4,500 yards, maybe more in the 40 range. Like I said, maybe the defense gets good next year. They don't need to pass as much. So there's a lot of factors, or maybe some of those touchdowns fall to the running back position. Maybe whoever the running back is there ends up having a double-digit touchdown season. And that takes away from Mahomes. So there's a lot to change. like you said, you kind of touched on the quarterbacks. We've kind of preached it. Like you said, who was the top 3 quarterbacks this year? It was probably Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady was getting drafted, average in like the 5th round.
Was he like the number 3 quarterback?
Pretty much like give or take. It was him or Russell Wilson, I think.
Yeah, and I mean that's where I think it's good to start considering these quarterbacks. Like Tyler said, Matt Ryan was I think he was the number 2 quarterback, right?
He finished as the number 2 quarterback.
Yeah, and he was drafted 10th round. Big Ben
Or
was
later,
3,
yeah.
right?
Big Ben 3.
And he was drafted, I think same thing around the same range
10th
as
round
that.
later, yeah.
So there's that quarterback, and this is the strategy I discussed too. Is I didn't do it as much as I would have liked to this year. Is if you have deep rosters, you're in that 7 roster range, like go the dual quarterback route. I know I mentioned taking like a Matt Ryan or Big Ben or someone or Matthew Stafford and backing that up with like a Mariota or Mahomes or Garoppolo and going with like that dual quarterback. Get one safety guy and get one upside guy. And if you were someone who took that strategy and you did, let's just say you took, I don't know, let's just say you took Roethlisberger and you took Mahomes, you could have had 2 amazing quarterbacks right there.
Yeah.
So I kind of like
2
that.
really amazing quarterbacks.
Baseballs. So I kind of like that strategy going into next year. Unless you get a good quarterback that falls to you, like let's just say you get let's just say Deshaun Watson falls to you like in the 6th or 7th round for some reason. Then you don't have to necessarily go to that.
Yeah. Just don't reach for a quarterback. Try to grab a skill position player because, like I said, like you can grab a good quarterback. I mean, everyone says Tom Brady's the GOAT and he's the greatest ever. Like I said, he was getting drafted down average in like the 5th round. He didn't even finish as a QB1. Finished as QB14. So, and this is the guy who is the GOAT, quote. So,
yeah. I mean, fantasy's different than real life, so it's...
Yeah, you can't. There's no refs cheating for you in fantasy, so.
Or are they?
Oh,
Dun, dun,
are they?
dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
They might be.
I mean, anything else you guys kind of learned on quarterbacks this year, like the position in general?
I learned that Baker Mayfield is the truth. I think the Browns got something good there. They finally, because how many quarterbacks have they drafted in the 1st round in the last couple of years? Brent Whedon, Johnny Manziel. Yeah. They've been looking for a quarterback for so long, and
Deshaun.
They could have drafted like a Rosen or a Sam Darnold, one of those guys, and missed. I think Baker was the right choice.
I think Baker.
I'm excited to see what he does next year with Freddie Kitchens as well. I'm excited to see what Baker.
I'm scared for our division.
Like they're gonna beat you.
I don't know. I just like our team. It's like every week there's like all this shit happening, and then every other team is like seems like they're just getting better and better.
I think what's like Tyler just said actually is just good point. Is I think Baker could take that Andrew Luck type of step where he goes into like the he has like a Mahomes. Like take Baker Mayfield's probably going to be, I don't know, 10th round pick, 11th round, probably the 10
he'll be
12th
back there
quarterback. For sure. You could double up with someone and take Baker. And it wouldn't surprise me if Baker goes out there for 4,500 yards, 35 plus touchdowns. And that's where you see that value. He's actually a good name that you brought up to where, maybe he's that late round quarterback that ends up like, we don't even know the upside yet.
Yeah.
The upside could be, he was the number 1 overall pick. The upside could be a top 3 finish.
Yeah.
When people drafted Luck that year and he was the number 1 overall quarterback, he was winning you leagues. And you said new coordinator, Freddie Kitchens is there. This team seems to be on the rise in the right direction. Like Baker could be that, hey, I'm going to take him in the 10th round, and if he hits, it's it's gold mine.
Yeah, Brown's offense looks good. I mean, he broke the record for most passing touchdowns from a rookie quarterback, so
yeah,
pretty good right there. And one thing also too is Dak. I mean, we saw once Amari Cooper came over there how good Dak was. I think he finished, down the stretch, pretty much like a top 5 quarterback, and like low key, Dak's finished as a top 10, top 12 quarterback 3 straight years. And
all
I
it
think
took was that Amari Cooper trade.
I mean, yeah, just to get a stud player like that. I mean, Zeke started getting involved in the passing game a ton. Yeah, and Dak was good. That was another quarterback right there. Dak finished as the QB 10 on the year. Was being drafted in round 14 or undrafted in some cases. So
yeah.
Just stuff like that.
Any quarterbacks you like kind of late round, Mike?
I feel like Phillip Rivers is always there. He's always like decent.
Yeah,
there's guys like that I just are always go-to dudes that.
And that offense isn't
always
going to
gonna be
change
there.
much, realistically. Yeah. I mean, Mike Williams there, Keenan Allen's there, Melvin Gordon's there, the line's staying intact, coordinator, coach. So I mean, like you said, that's
I feel like the
guy.
past like 3 years is like guys like Phillip Rivers. I always draft Ben because it seems just people a lot of times I feel like they see the interceptions, they don't realize that he's actually like pretty consistent fantasy wise. I feel like if you play him the right weeks. Those are kind of guys I always just target for. I never really reach for a quarterback like ever.
Yeah. What do you guys think about these 2 running quarterbacks? Was Josh Allen, right?
Josh Allen
and Lamar Jackson.
I'm good.
I think I'll pass on them, but it's crazy. I didn't even realize it until I saw the article you wrote on Josh Allen, how he was the QB1 down the stretch just because he's running the ball so much. I don't know. I can't imagine he keeps running the ball like that. If this is a franchise quarterback, I mean, we saw what happened to RG3. Came out, running the ball like crazy, rookie of the year.
Dead.
Blew his knee out. Yeah, it's just like,
Yeah, like I see the same thing happening to Lamar. As well.
you want to limit your quarterback. I mean, why has Tom Brady been doing it for so long? Because he never gets hit. You know,
Did
why
you
did
ever see
Peyton
him
do it
run?
for so long? Because he never
No.
gets hit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, my dad is like 10 years older than him, and he runs better than him. He's more
Yeah.
coordinated than Tom Brady.
So I just don't know if that's going to sustain.
feet.
They might try to get him better as throwing the ball and say, "Hey, man, don't run as much because we want to preserve you for the long run." But
Yeah.
how do you feel about it?
I think these are guys where I don't think they're going to be in the top 12. So, if I have a stable quarterback, I don't mind taking a flyer on one of these two. I mean, maybe Josh Allen is, maybe he does use his legs. The stat I was pointing out is he was weeks 12 through 17. He was the quarterback 1 overall. And that was due to his rushing, because the way the fantasy game is set up is, 10 rushing yards equals, 25 passing yards. And like when I did the adjusted math, is he basically was throwing for 405 yards a game over the last 7 weeks. And Lamar Jackson had some value with that too. I'll get into that. But, these might be some guys to where they might have some safe floors because they're running the ball so much. And let's just say you go with Big Ben, who's had notorious home and road splits minus this year. Let's say he loses AB. That could be a trend next year again that pops back up because he loses Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell's gone. So maybe it'd be good to have one of these safe floor guys for Big Ben has a tough road matchup against the Ravens. You could throw one of these guys in there and stuff like that. So I think they'll have some value next year, especially if they give Josh Allen some weapons. He does have 6-foot Groot, and that's it.
Yeah, they cut him.
Yeah, and Zay Jones was showing some potential, and who was the other? What's his name at the end?
Reuben Foster.
Yeah,
or
so,
Robert Foster.
Maybe if they give him some real weapons, it could help him.
Yeah.
Because he was throwing for about 200 yards as well, whereas Lamar Jackson wasn't throwing for many yards.
Yeah.
He was at least throwing the ball a little bit. So maybe these guys have some value next year.
Yeah. I think the difference with those two is that, Lamar Jackson was running the ball because they were designed run plays for him, where Josh Allen was just kind of scrambling on the fly.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of actually helps Josh Allen maybe because, you run a pass play and then he just kind of finds the run lane and goes. Whereas, I mean, the league's going to have so much tape on Lamar Jackson now, and we talk about him like all the time. The guy can't fucking throw the ball for shit. I mean, every now and then he's going to hit a good pass, but for the most part, it's like he's just so inaccurate with his throws. It's like defenses are going to learn, watch the tape, learn how to shut down those rushing lanes, and they're going to make Lamar Jackson beat you with his arm.
It's almost
I
like
don't see
they
that
missed.
happening.
It's like it makes me wonder, like, how did these coaches miss that this guy is not a quarterback? like that's not the position he should be
Because scouts
playing.
get enamored with I think it's any sport playing baseball is they get enamored with the tools or the combine. It's he throws the ball 100 miles an hour. If we can get him to throw it on point, he'll be a good quarterback.
Right.
But the problem is like just some people, it's not like
It's just not going to happen.
it's just a if. It's like there's people out there in baseball throw 102 miles an hour, but they're like hitting the stands.
Yeah.
And like if we can control this fastball, he could be a good pitcher. Or if we can get him to hit it, some guy might hit a ball 500 feet. He's 6'5", 500 pounds, but how many times does he make contact with the ball? It's kind of
500 pounds.
just throwing numbers out there.
That's so big. That's a big ass.
That's like
yeah, fucking the Hulk out there.
it's like the old school Madden.
500 pounds, dude. Dude, that bat would be so big, dude.
I mean, I mean,
Let's get like a cricket paddle.
Got like the God of War out there fucking swinging the bat.
fucking Thanos is out there.
Dude, 500 pounds is so crazy.
Fucking Thanos is just. He's fucking,
God.
all right.
But yeah, no, you're right. You're right though. Baseball.
Baseball, fancy baseball podcast. We look at our 6'5", 500-pound athletes.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, they do. I just never understand.
Yeah, I don't
Lamar
understand
Jackson.
either, too.
I don't get it.
All right. Well, do you guys want to maybe move on to like running backs?
Yeah, what'd
See
you
what
guys learn on some running backs? I learned don't kick a girl when she's on the ground because you'll get cut, no matter how good you are.
Jesus. I think we all learned that.
We learned that. But
I kind of knew that.
you
so.
seen the reports the Bears might sign him? They should. I mean, bro,
Oh, he would fit that offense good.
go get him.
dang.
Go get him, dude.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I didn't see that
So,
actually.
We'll see what happens, yeah.
I mean, the one running backs is it's somewhat cut and dry. The one thing I did learn is not all opportunity is like created equal in a sense. Like there's people that say volume, opportunity, talent, And it's like, if someone's going to get 20 carries on, let's use the Bills and Jets offense. It isn't the same 20 carries that it is when you're going into these Kansas City's offense, the Rams offense. That's factor one. And then factor two, there's also the talent factor. Like how talented is this person that in the system that they're working with? Todd Gurley, he's a talent. He gets a lot of volume. So he does well in the Rams system. Now, if you take another running back and put him in that same system, it's not as talented, you're not going to get the same production. Now, if you take Todd Gurley and put him on the Bills offense, he definitely wouldn't be the same because it's like he's getting volume and he's getting opportunity, but the offense isn't good. So that's something to where I'm going to kind of make some adjustments this offseason. And, I'm trying to think of a name on the fly or a team on the fly where it's like, okay, he's going to get a lot of volume. Let's just use the Jets because I think they might not be a good football team. Let's just say Elijah McGuire is the only back there. He's going to get a lot of volume, but the opportunity and those carries and pass catches he get is they're not going to be great like carries. Like there's times where he's running in the line, he might get 15 carries for 34 yards.
Yeah,
at times. So that's something I kind of learned this year, is to where it's like volume doesn't necessarily always mean everything. Like we were on the Sean McCoy to point where it's like he was in the 4th round. We're like he's going to get volume, and yeah, he was getting volume, but the volume was just they weren't scoring in the beginning and they weren't doing much. So
just a bad offense.
Just a bad offense. So David Johnson looked, for example, like a talent. But the offense went down, so his production went downhill.
Yeah. I think we just learned, too, like, for some of these offenses, like you said, maybe on the flip side, where it's like, if the offense is really good, it's kind of like, it doesn't matter who the running back is. Like, for instance, like the Steelers, like, Le'Veon wants all this money, but they're like, no. They threw James Conner in there, and he was putting up better numbers on a statistic base than Le'Veon Bell was. I mean, Kareem Hunt goes down, you're probably worrying the Chiefs aren't going to have a good running back. Damian Williams steps in out of nowhere, and he's just having these monster games. So
even
maybe
Darrell
sometimes
Williams
it's just
had a good game.
Maybe sometimes it's just these systems of these
did.
coaches, and it doesn't really necessarily mean what's going on. I think the Steelers ended up making the right decision here, not forking over a ton of cash for Le'Veon. And you got James Conner here, who's
Jalen Samuels, who's like a tight end / running back, who had good production. So yeah, it's basically kind of what I was saying. It's like, like I said, it's like sometimes it's a system. The system's going to produce points.
How come they don't have guys like Vance McDonald just running the ball?
because he's not very fast.
I know, but if you're just like hulking through everybody, I mean,
is he 6'5", 500 pounds?
yeah, like why not?
Just stiff arming people.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I was a coach, I'd probably be the worst coach ever. I'd be like, dude, let's get like this really big guy and run him right through the middle, dude.
I mean, I can see it for goal line carries.
I suppose. I don't know.
Maybe.
I guess that's what Derrick Henry is.
Yeah, he's going to be an interesting guy next year to people. He flashed for those 2-3 games at the end, so it's
down the stretch. Yeah, it's some crazy good games.
But there's coaching changes too.
Yeah,
I think that's something we'll get more into the offseason because I don't want to spend 20 minutes on coaching changes. But I mean, we bring it back a post again. Is look at how Todd Gurley was the year before with John Fox or Jeff Fisher, the same coach. Yeah. I always mix those two up.
Yeah, Jeff Fisher.
Jeff Fisher is like he was getting just thrown into the back of offensive line and just wasn't productive. And then you get Sean McVay over here and look at what it did to his production. Christian McCaffrey, he went from a back end RB1, and then he got Norv Turner over here who's going to use him as a workhorse. Where I heard something crazy where he was playing 100% of snaps, which is for game after game, just straight up workhorse. And look what it did to his. So, like I said, I threw out Aaron Jones as a name, someone who's getting coaching changes. David Johnson's going to have coaching changes. Maybe we see the resurgence of David Johnson to get creative. So, I mean, coaching changes just makes a difference in general. Schemes, how they're going to be used. Are they going to be just ran straight into, the line? Or are they going to be used like I'm interested to see who the Cowboys get as a coordinator. Because maybe they use Zeke in more creative screen ways. Maybe they're putting Zeke in opportunities to where he can make these big explosive plays.
Yeah.
So, I mean, depending on their coordinator, I might have Zeke in my number one spot.
Yeah. Think the Cowboys bring Dez back? That'd be interesting.
They'd be them boys, huh?
They'd be them
Good
boys.
boys.
Anything else, you guys? Running backs? I'm sure there's a ton. We can't think of right now.
I just want to say something on dude. That Derrick Henry, that's so frustrating. It's like as soon as we thought we had Derrick Henry figured out, this motherfucker throws a whole wrench in the damn machine. We don't like what now? What?
I mean,
what do you make of it?
If John Fox goes there, I'll draft him because he's going to run him every time, over and over.
I think what it was is once DeMarco Murray left, everyone was hyped on Derrick Henry, thinking that he was going to be the stud. And then all of a sudden, the Deion Lewis signing happened, and it was kind of like, whoa, pump the brakes. Like, maybe it's not going to be the Derrick Henry show. And it really wasn't. They were splitting a lot of carries, and even Deion Lewis was getting a lot more work than Derrick Henry was. But
Derrick
then
Henry, he was trying to give him touchdowns.
But then towards the stretch, it was Derrick Henry was getting 25 to 30 touches a game, and we saw what he could do, with that type of workload. So
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on. He's going to be. Depends on what the coaching happens there, schemes, like what it looks like. I think I'm learning that football nowadays is really scheme oriented.
yeah,
If they're going to run a basic, old school, boring offense, it's going to be hard for him to have production. How healthy is Mariota going to be? There's so many factors that you can't even really get into it yet.
yeah.
Who do you guys have as your top 2 backs for next year? As of right now, way early, or we can do 3, like quick 3.
3 just off the top of my head. Probably just again Gurley, McCaffrey, Melvin Gordon. I don't know.
Melvin Gordon.
It's off the top of my head.
Melvin Gordon's gonna go.
I think I'm gonna have Zeke in there.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I would.
I'm gonna throw Saquon in there. I'm actually impressed with what he did. As bad as that offense is,
Yeah.
and they're gonna have a top pick, and I think that offense can get a little better. Ooh, I think, I guess I got Gurley, McCaffrey. I'll go Gurley as of now.
Yeah.
As of now, but
Top
stuff
3?
could change. Yeah.
What about? I mean, I guess you're waiting on where he lands, but Le'Veon Bell.
See, even that, I just don't. I wouldn't put him ahead of those guys. I think the workload he had in Pittsburgh and the production he had with that offense is gonna be hard to replicate.
Yeah, I mean, if he's even.
I think he'd
playing.
still be a top 10 back, but I don't think he's gonna crack my top 3.
Oh. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there, I guess. Yeah, I'd probably put obviously Todd Gurley, Saquon. I don't think Melvin Gordon's gonna be up there. I almost want to say McCaffrey. But yeah.
We all have a little different, but it's tough. Like it's early,
Yeah.
but it's going to be a tough discussion for those.
It's funny because like it's hard to know now, but then in a couple months there's going to be all these like lists of top things, and I feel like because of those lists come out, a lot of people base their stuff off of there. But it's like it really is a crapshoot. You really don't know.
Yeah,
it
kinda
really
is.
is like where we're at right now.
I'm doing my own. Like I did my own rankings kind of last year, but I'm going to enter into the fantasy pros like to see how I can do, and I'm sure Ty wants to too. See how we can do with our rankings and stuff like that.
Yeah. Get him in
That's me.
And then Mike's going to do it too.
No.
All right, we can move over to the receiver position. I mean, anything you guys kind of took away from receivers this year?
Juju balled out way more than I thought he was going to do.
Yeah, I think he blew everybody away.
I think everyone likes Juju, especially because of the name Juju. So like, I feel like I
think
feel
he's
like
just a
everyone
cool
was
cat, too.
drafting. Yeah, I think everyone's just drafting
Yeah,
it
he is a
super
cool
high,
cat.
but
He's a cool cat.
it's almost like you got a value for him, or you got a good bargain on him.
Wait, dude, I
being
just
drafted in the
realized
first
something. Cool cat, hot dog.
Mind blown.
You never say hot cat or cool dog.
What do you? So you're a Steelers fan. What are you thinking about? Do you think they're getting rid of AB?
I
know
think
rumors
they're
are
saying
saying they are, but
they're saying that he's not going anywhere. I don't know. He's posting, but then he posted this weird thing where he's like, one thing I will never forget is how great these fans are. And then at the end, he's like, but I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm leaving. It's like, then why the fuck did you just say that?
Would you see the thing where his Twitter, he took down it's like AB Pro Bowl, like all pro wide receiver, Pittsburgh Steelers, and then like he took it off and it just says AB all pro wide receiver. It doesn't say Pittsburgh Steelers all pro wide receiver.
Yeah, so like he's doing shit like that, and I don't know. When I hear people doing stuff like that, it's like I don't want that on the team. I don't care how good you are, dude. Like
I just think Big Ben's a piece of shit, dude. Like you don't go out here and like how many times did Big Ben throw him under the bus and he's like, oh, AB ran the wrong route or AB wasn't where he was supposed to be, and it's like, bro, you don't call out your best player on your team. Like you don't do that. You don't throw your teammate under the bus, to
Yeah,
like
but
cover
dude-
your ass because you
dude,
threw a fucking pick.
You know the
well,
amount.
didn't
Of,
him and Mike Wallace not get along too?
I just think
Le'Veon
Big
Bell,
Ben's a
I mean,
piece of
maybe
shit,
there's-
dude.
I don't know. Maybe
I mean,
Tyler got a point.
You don't
Dude,
get,
I think you have to have a crazy ego just to be able to make it into the NFL and play like every single game. Yeah, dude, he might fucking sell you under the bus. It's like because he has that mindset. That's like what got him there. Is like him. I don't know. Like
yeah,
him-
but now you're ruining like the like
Team
locker,
camaraderie.
yeah, team camaraderie in like the locker room and shit like that. It's like
Yeah.
shit that we don't see as like at the average player. You just watch the game and think like, oh, what's going on? I don't understand. But like you don't see behind the scenes what's going on in the locker room. And AB probably fucking despises Big Ben now. It's probably like
Yeah.
when you and your big ass head.
Maybe
Yeah, I mean, they
someone
probably
like,
go through practices not talking. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck you. Go
Maybe-
rape another girl in the bathroom. bitch
Yeah.
ass.
dude, what if they like AB like DM'd Ben's like wife or something?
Ever said about like LeBron stuff or his teammate? Did his
Yeah,
teammate hook
wait,
up
what?
with his mom or something like that?
Yeah, like
LeBron's
one of
mom?
his teammates fucked LeBron's mom at a
What?
party, and then like a week later, that teammate got cut.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude, that's pretty crazy.
Like
I don't know. What do I know? But
Hey, dude.
I don't think AB stays there.
Hey, dude, you really want to make an NBA? Don't fuck LeBron James' mom. How about that? Rule number 1: don't fuck the best player in the
all right, so
NBA's mom.
How about you go to a job interview? What makes you qualify for this job? I fuck LeBron James' mom. You're hired.
Dude, I mean, I would just hire him just to hear the story, and then I'd let him go.
Before he fucks your mom?
Yeah. Dude.
This
He's
is
like-
he like puts down a picture of his mother. He's like, on the table. Well, who's that? No one.
I don't know. So you think AB stays? I don't. I don't think he stays.
I think he's. I don't know.
I think if a team offers like
I don't want him to say, to be honest. If he's gonna keep having this attitude, I mean, he supposedly had a big conversation with higher ups in Pittsburgh, and supposedly that like they talked it out and made things better. But then he's starting to do stuff like that, taking the description off of his Twitter and like posting weird stuff about thanking the fans and all like miss them, but I'm not
Yeah.
going anywhere. So it's like, it's a little fishy. I hope that if he's gonna have this attitude, he gets out of there, because I like you said, we're good at drafting wide receivers, like all of
Yeah.
them good. Wallace,
sorry.
Santonio Holmes, you know.
What level of production do you think Juju is compared to AB if AB's gone? Like full.
It's harder
AB.
for me to like. It's like
How do you feel about that? Because I'm like, I don't think he can match what AB did in his prime years. But he's still so young. There's so much growth. But
they're like
I think the
different
thing
players
is-
though too,
yeah, and I think
yeah,
the thing,
Juju lines up in the slot a lot.
and they're like different framed players too. Like
Yeah.
AB's are really quick, like a little bit short, not super short. I mean, 6 foot or something.
and Big Ben's kind of more on the. I don't want to say he's tailing downwards because he just had a really good year, but
Led the league in passing.
yeah, he
yards.
led the league fast. Maybe it's just shut up.
It's so
I mean,
funny.
I don't know if he could do what AB did in a season when AB was full AB. I feel like you could probably get 80% of that though. I think that's safe to say. You know, maybe because he will be the number one. He will be guarded like the number one. The thing is, AB is still there and he's
Yeah.
guarded like the number one. So if Juju's the number one by himself, I think teams are going to try and take him away. Like AB can legit be double, triple coverage. I don't know if Juju can do that yet. And it's if he's by himself, I think he's still you got to evaluate him as a top 10 receiver. But I don't know if he would crack my top 5.
Yeah, I mean, like for sure, having AB there helps him, but like
Yeah.
with him being gone, does that hurt him? I mean, a good example will probably be Tyler Boyd. With AJ Green, Boyd was just balling out. When AJ Green left, everyone kind of thought, all right, well, Boyd's gonna even go more than he's doing now, but he didn't.
No.
Yeah, it
He
was
kind of got limited because they were doubling him, and you lose that other offensive threat on the opposite side of the field that the defense has to account for. So
like same scenario, but basically with better talent. So
Yeah.
it's tough to kind of like guess what's going to happen if AB goes.
Yeah, I mean, if AB goes and then they are able to draft an underdog or something, and I mean, they just drafted what's his name, James Washington, and they have guys that they're obviously. I'm not saying James Washington's going to replace AB, but
Let's say
No,
AB
go
let's
with
say AB
guys.
goes to like the Jets. Would you take AB or Juju?
probably Juju, 'cause I don't trust Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I
If,
think-
if
yeah.
AB goes to the Niners, which I've been hearing, I think AB has just a fucking monster year because we see what the number one in a Kyle Shanahan offense can do, and
Yeah.
I think he would kill it. The trade I've been seeing kind of floating out there is the Niners trade the second overall pick, a second round pick for next year, and Marquise Goodwin for AB.
I can see that.
So I mean that's a possibility. And like I said, if AB was to go there with Jimmy G in a Kyle Shanahan system, I mean I think AB might get 2,000 yards receiving.
Jesus.
Interesting.
He'd ball like crazy. So we'll see. I guess you never
Yeah,
know.
we'll see what
You
happens.
never know what happens, but
All right. I don't know. One thing I did kind of learn with receivers this year is those top 12 receivers ish, give or take a few, like maybe 13, 14, is they're difference makers.
yeah,
They're almost like having that that work, because they're almost like having that workhorse type of running back, but at the receiver position. Because you might have like I had a team where I'd have good weeks from the running back position, but then I was playing these mid-range receivers who would go out and get me. I'd get 20 from a running back, 20, and then I'd have two receivers go get me a 4 and a 5.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's because I didn't have that workhorse type of wide receiver one to make sure I'm getting that 10 to 30 type of game. I was running with, trying to pick these receivers and plug and play. And I feel like it kind of hurt my upside, and it kind of like limited my week to week. If I had 2 duds at the receiver positions, it kind of really hurt my value in those. Not my value, but my points of the week. And those top 12 receivers are very like consistent. They have week winning weeks as well.
Yeah.
Whereas like you have running backs who go out there and they win you a week getting 30 something points. Those top 12 receivers as well have week winning weeks where they'll get you 150 and 2 touchdowns. So they get something to where, don't underestimate those top 12 receivers, because they're going to have week winning weeks for your team. And that's kind of something I learned this year is, go out and make sure, get your workhorse running back, but also you kind of want to get that workhorse receiver too, that you can lean on both these guys, because you can only start 2 and then the flex comes down to whatever. But if you have 1 and 1 there and you have 2 kind of workhorses in a sense, it just makes your team that more lethal, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can make trades to get that, solid number 2. You can make trade maybe 2 or 3 receivers to get that elite number 2. And you can make trades to get that elite type of number 2 running back if you need to. But to have those 2 like top dogs in a sense at the position, I feel like it just makes a really big difference.
Yeah, for sure. Something I learned too is Devontae Adams. We didn't know how he'd be without Jordy, but I know we loved Devontae Adams this year.
I had him at 4
and
3.
he just exploded. He showed what he was all about. I think it was like every single game PPR wise, he had like 15 or 16 plus points every single game.
No, yeah, right. It was his floor was like 15 points.
Yeah, he had 15 or more points in every single game. Talk about consistency, bro. Just like set it and forget it. Don't worry about anything. Didn't matter the matchups. I mean, they play the Bears twice. They play the Vikings twice. Those are some tough matchups too. So,
yeah,
just stud guy right there.
I'm curious next year what he does, because the Titans coach. I know the Titans coach didn't have the most success. He went over there, but if you look at how he used Corey Davis, that's an indication of how they're going to use Devontae Adams. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Like if you watch Corey Davis, they're moving him in the slot, landing him up, doing that. Mike McCarthy wasn't doing all that much with Devontae Davis. It was motions, like they were doing a lot with Corey Davis. Yeah, Corey Davis, he had an okay sophomore season. And he had some big games as well. But I mean, Devontae Adams and the chemistry at Rodgers, I mean, that's going to be interesting to watch. I mean, who are your guys? Let's do the same thing with receivers. Who's your guys' top 3 receivers going into next year?
Well, I've always been a really big Julio Jones guy, so he'd probably still be in my top 3. But I think DeAndre Hopkins is just a fucking monster this year, and it's hard to just discredit him. Yeah, I mean the AB thing, you got to figure out what's going on. That probably limits him in the top 3. If I was gonna do top 3, it'd probably be like Hopkins, Julio Jones, and then maybe Devontae Adams just right now. Just because of those guys have been getting it done consistently. Odell's good, but Eli Manning's not very good. AB, you don't know what's going on with him and the whole Big Ben thing. Juju's eating to him.
Juju's out there. Like I said, OBJ's been.
OBJ's, you got Eli 3rd and down syndrome throwing you the ball. It's
and why would you trust 3rd and down syndrome when you got Saquon right there? That can
I'm trying to think of who the top receivers are. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I mean Michael Thomas. You could vouch for Michael Thomas in there.
Yeah, you could.
He's good. He good.
He good.
Very good.
He good. Yeah, I think I'd be my 3. I think I'd have Devontae Adams 1, Hopkins 2, and Julio 3. That'd be my top 3 right there. And then I have Michael Thomas like I'd probably have him 4.
It's tough. Right? I mean, it's tough. If you can get 2 of those guys in your, there's a couple leagues I had this year where I had 2 of those guys. I had like Devontae Adams and Julio Jones in the league, and it was just, bro, those guys were just crushing it for me every week. So.
I mean, as long as you get decent running backs too, you're like,
I don't know. One thing I learned this year too is I think Robert Woods could be the best receiver on the Rams, and he probably gets the least amount of credit behind Kupp and Cooks.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those guys who sleeps on Robert Woods, actually. But I think after watching him this year, I think he could be the best receiver on that team.
Yeah, I think Cooks is going to be drafted ahead of him next year.
Could see a little Adam Thielen action.
And I wonder where Cooper Kupp goes too. It's going to be interesting those 3 next year. That's going to be a fun kind of off-season debate. And then even Thielen and Diggs will be a fun offseason debate as well too, because Thielen kind of tailed off in the second half, and you're gonna have some people. I'll probably have Thielen ahead of Diggs because at this point he's done it more and he's shown it to me already. But the numbers tailed off in the second half for Thielen. I think it was something. His pace over the first half was like something stupid, like 1,800 yards, and his pace over the second half was like 850 yards. So he had a tail of two halves. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting, and it could be more of a run game there too. Dalvin Cook could be interesting because they fired the coordinator and they basically started giving Dalvin Cook the workload after that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting offense to look at next year.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things for the running backs that I realized this year. Is I wasn't big on Dalvin Cook coming into the year, especially because Latavius Murray was there. I wasn't sure the workload he was going to get coming off the ACL injury. But seeing Dalvin Cook down the stretch, he looks really good, and I'm excited for that guy. And I think if he slips into like the third round in drafts next year, I think you're getting a steal. You're getting a potential RB1 in the third round right there. I think Latavius Murray fades out, and it's just the Dalvin Cook show.
I think we were both kind of right on him in the offseason. Is like I liked the potential upside he offered to where like you said you saw over the stretch where he has that workhorse. He can catch the ball, he can run the ball, he can get you 20 carries plus touchdowns plus receiving. And you were on the like I'm worried about Murray and I'm worried about him coming off the injury to the beginning of the season. I think like both of our combination was kind of correct in a sense. And then end of season, like you were right for beginning of season. And I was with you too because I did worry about Latavius Murray. I didn't have him in my top 12. He was like my 13th or 14th back, so I was there with you too. But we saw what he could do. Those that down the stretch next year. So like you said, he's someone who could be exciting next year.
Yeah, I'm excited for him next year. As far as the Thielen and Diggs things goes, for me personally, I'd probably lean Thielen just because you're never seeing Thielen on the injury report. I feel like with Diggs, it's constantly like, oh, he's got a hamstring, he's got a groin, like his neck is tweaked. Like, I don't know. Like Thielen, I can't remember a time, knock on wood, that I've seen Thielen like, oh, Thielen, he might miss this game because of his groin and shit, you know what I'm saying? But where Diggs is always kind of like not banged up and whatnot. So I don't want to deal with that. Is like he's going to play, got to find a replacement receiver. So, and like you said, Thielen's done it before. So
yeah.
I like Thielen.
Who's going to be a beast in the future is that Clemson receiver as a freshman.
Oh, Ross?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that fool's going to be a
good.
monster.
John Ross?
No.
Not that guy.
No.
Let's move over to tight ends real quick. Kind of a terrible position for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, there was some people that came out of the woodworks, like George Kittle.
Here's the real
Eric
question
Ebron
with it.
showed up.
So, George Kittle actually broke the record for receiving yards in a season for a tight end.
Point in case.
Kelsey had it for like a second.
Yeah, what
They were
was
like,
it?
Travis Kelsey, here's your award for breaking the record, and George Kittle's like, give me that shit as they're handing it to him.
But didn't you say it was like literally like 10 minutes after the game ended?
It was something like that because he was the 10 o'clock game, and then like he got it, and then George Kittle started at 1 and like broke it like I don't know, fucking, like 20 minutes later. He's like, hey guys, he's like, nah, that's not yours. Give me that back.
That's funny.
I didn't get a picture. I'm doing it for the gram.
I didn't even get a picture.
Oh.
He posts it on Instagram, but he has to delete it.
I mean, I guess it.
And then you just see George Kittle in the comments says, "Well."
Oh, you almost got it.
I think kind of the conversation is where do you take these tight ends like the Kelsey, the Ertz, the Kittle. Anyone else you think of that's probably in that lead tier? I think Gronk's out at this
You
point.
take Ertz.
Yeah.
You could take Ertz early.
Ertz, Kelsey, and probably Kittle are probably in their own tier now, I would say.
I think what you have to do is, I don't know how you guys feel, that's is like you almost have to take away the tight end position and put him in the wide receiver position.
And if they can hold up there.
Yeah, and maybe even give him a bump or two positions up from there because they add that much more value at the tight end position than they do receiver position, if that makes some sense.
Because of how thin the tight end
because
position
how thin
is.
the tight end position
Yeah,
is.
that does make sense.
So let's just say we're looking at, I guess off the top of my head, an easy number would be Stephon Diggs had 100 catches or so, 1,000 yards, 7-8 touchdowns, versus where you have Ertz. He was probably in that same range, maybe a little higher in the
Yeah,
yardage.
Ertz broke the reception record for a touchdown.
For tight ends?
For tight ends, yeah.
Yeah,
He
and you're
broke
going to
the
have those
receptions.
two at the same spot, but it's like I feel like you give Ertz that bump because the tight end position is so thin.
Yeah.
And I'm just throwing a name out there. Maybe I'm trying to think. I mean, maybe AJ Green's a good spot next year where those productions could be the production from the two could be neck and neck, and it's like, do I go with AJ Green, or do I try and get someone in the 5th round like a Robert Woods, Kenny Galladay maybe, and I take a Zach Ertz, a George Kittle right here, or Travis Kelsey because I'm getting such an edge. I mean, if you have 150 and 2 touchdowns from your tight end that week, that could legit win you the week.
Be
So,
when your opponent's putting up 4 points because their tight end was Kyle Rudolph.
yeah, so I think that's something where it's like I'm going to take a real deep look into that position and where do you value these guys and where do you start taking them? I mean, people used to take Gronk in the first round when he was Gronk of old, where he was bonking.
Yeah,
not donking.
yeah,
that was terrible.
You guys dead to me. No, I get what you're saying right here. It's like you got to figure out where's the cusp of like which of these tight ends are actually kind of like the receivers at the end of the day. Their label is tight end, but they're receivers at the end of the day. And then where does that line draw of where these receiving tight ends end and where like the tight end start, like a Vance McDonald,
Njoku,
Kyle
Howard,
Rudolph, and
these
Njoku.
guys.
These are guys who are just tight ends. Where like I said, instead of these elite guys who are pretty much receivers, they're just big body receivers like a Kittle, Kelsey, and Ertz and stuff like that. So.
I mean, that's kind of how I'm viewing it. Is like these guys are going to be in my rankings, and the way I look at it is they're receivers. But I'm going to probably give them, if you're doing overall rankings, top 25, and Kelsey's based off of what I think number wise is 24. I'll probably bump him to my 20 overall, just because that tight end position is so thin that the difference I'm getting there is like basically my tight end becomes a wide receiver, in a sense. So it's like now my tight end's a wide receiver. It's not really a tight end position, so I'm running 3 wide receivers. So most teams are running 2 wide receivers and a tight end. That's kind of the viewpoint I took with it.
Yeah,
it's like I get an advantage because I get 3 wide receivers, and then if I hit on a wide receiver a late round, I mean, you could legit be carried by tight ends and 2 wide receivers.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's a good one. I think we learned that Gronk is just
he looks like an old man.
He's slow.
He just looks
he's just falling apart.
He used to look like an athlete. He just doesn't look like an athlete anymore.
Yeah,
dude, I feel like I've been saying this for like 2 years.
What's the reference I made earlier before we were on the air about Gronk?
When we were on the air.
Before we were live on the podcast.
Oh.
I was like, I kind of saw like Gronk like slowing down a little bit in the preseason, but I didn't want to believe it. I was like, it's like when your girlfriend's like cheating on you, you know it, but you like don't want to believe you, pretend like it's not happening.
You see your girlfriend making out with somebody and
you're
like, hey, dude, is that your girlfriend?
No, that's not
dude,
her.
that's not her.
Nah, dude, I'm pretty sure that's your girlfriend. Hey, Carrie, what's up?
No, dude, that's not her. That's not her. Hey, we should go though. We should
You
get
guys
out of
want
here.
to go?
Yeah, that's how you felt about Gronk.
Yeah, I feel like I was like, I kind of saw the
You
slowness.
saw
but
Gronk making out with another dude at the
yeah,
club.
but I didn't want to believe it. I was like, dude, it's not. Gronk can't do that to me. He's not doing that to me.
Yeah, it just shows you. I mean, at the end of the day, no matter how good these players are, Father Time always catches up to them unless you're Tom Brady.
I mean, he's at 80. These guys are old. We're like, Tyler, he's the same age as
Tom
me.
Brady downloads his consciousness into a robot.
Thought the God.
He plays forever. What if we started having?
What if he's like Bionicle Brady? They just start giving him like limbs and shit. He's like, Tyler's like,
He's a $6
I said
million
one
man.
day he's gonna fucking retire, and he's never fucking retired.
He's 70 on my
They give him like a
deathbed or
20-year-old
something.
heart. He's like fucking still like in the league.
Fuck Tom Brady. Yeah, Gronk just looked old. I mean, he's just moving around out there. He's still a big guy, so he's still making like plays, but like he's not putting up those. I feel like when you think of Gronk, you're thinking like 8 catches, 120 yards, and 2 tugs type game. Like these games that Kelsey and Ertz were kind of having this year. Even Kittle having these monster games. You're thinking Gronk had that, and he had that game in the first week. I think he had like 115 at a tug, couple catches, but then after that, it's.
I know, I was so hyped.
And it's like the thing with having Gronk all year is like you're not benching Gronk.
Yeah, I think I started.
You're starting him every
I
week.
was like,
I
motherfucker.
think there was
and
one week I didn't do it, and I was like the whole time I was like, God, why did I do that? Like I was.
Yeah, because nothing's worse than if he did have a Gronk game on your bench, you'd be like, why the fuck would I sit Gronk? So you're just sitting here starting him every week, and he's just letting you down every week at a disadvantage. So
All right, who's So let's see. I think the top 3 are pretty obvious. So we need to let's do 2 sleeper tight ends for next year. If you got to think of some.
Jacob Esparza. What? You don't think so? Okay.
I think it's a good one. I think OJ Howard's probably one of my favorite sleeper tight ends next year.
oh yeah, OJ Howard would be a good one.
I think I'm gonna say Zach Ertz.
I'm trying to think what's okay.
Sleeper wise, I mean, I don't know. I still like Njoku.
I still like
I still like to see what
Njoku,
he can do.
too.
I think Ebron's still going to be really good next year.
Yeah.
I mean, that we saw the talent. That's one thing we saw. We saw how good he could be with a good quarterback and a good offense that they actually know how to use him. So
I'm trying to think of like a. I don't know. I think it's.
it's just tough. There's not very many good tight ends.
Yeah, it's not too many.
So
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I said Zach Ertz, because I didn't have a good answer.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, tight end gets weird. It gets.
You asked,
I think OJ Howard is probably one of the best ones you
you asked
come
a
up
tough
with.
question.
You know, actually, someone I'm interesting is who's the Jets tight end?
Chris Herndon.
Yeah, Herndon. He was a rookie this year too, and he had a pretty solid year.
Yeah.
CJ
Yeah, maybe-
Hardon.
CJ Harden. I mean, he's someone who could be interesting next year.
Yeah.
If Darnold takes a little bit of a step up.
Could be, yeah.
You know, maybe he's someone he's a 700, 800 type of tight end. You know, 6-7 touchdowns. So he could be an interesting guy next year.
Yeah. You want to touch on defenses real quick before you get out of here?
Yeah,
Just
we
something
just
quick.
defenses is don't draft the same defense number one overall because it just never happens.
Yeah. What was the stat that the defense hasn't repeated number one in how many years?
Yeah, it's defense. The number one defense has been repeated as the number one defense in over 10 years. I got tired of hitting refresh after a point, and I was like, I don't even know how far this goes back.
Yeah.
It's not even, the value you can get at drafting. We preach this in the offseason on the podcast is like, if you're taking the Jaguars in the 7th round, I mean, who are some of the 7th round players you could have got? I mean, you could have probably got, there was some value running back, receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I know Kenny Galladay was like 10th round. I'm sure Robert Woods is probably in that range, 7th
sure,
round.
yeah.
Some of the running backs.
Tariq
like
Cohen was probably going late that.
Kerryon Johnson was like a 7th round pick. I remember
Yeah.
taking him in the 7th round or 6th round around
Yeah.
that range. And the defense is just year to year, they changed so much. It's 4 of the top 10 defenses in 2017 only came back in 2018. And it's just the number one never repeats. There's so much change. There's unpredictability. There's coordinators. There's defensive line changes, linebacker changes. There's just so much that goes on that it almost never repeats. Strength of schedule, home road. To invest that 7th round, 6th round, 8th round pick when you can be getting maybe a potential. You're still picking almost your starters in a sense.
Yeah.
At that point. If you go back and look at the 6th, 7th, 8th round ADP, I'm sure there's starters in there where you're like, crap, I could have taken
Studs, yeah.
this guy instead of a defense, and it's like, take those shots because, 6 of the top 10 defenses were some of them were even undrafted,
Yeah.
and you can stream defenses week to week. So when it comes to defenses, if you want to take a good one, make sure it's at the right price, like round 10, round 11, where you're like, I don't know who the hell I want. I'm going to take, let's just say the Rams, who should be a top 5 D on paper. Like, okay, I'll take it at this point. But, don't go into those single-digit rounds taking defenses.
Yeah. For me personally, I definitely like streaming defenses. I mean, if you stumble upon a good defense, like the Bears, for example, this year,
Yeah.
and you have the Jaguars last year, like someone dropped them, and I picked them up in a couple leagues last year. They ended up being the number one defense. If you stumble on a defense like that, yeah, good for you, and you found it. But like I said, again, they said don't waste a pick on a defense high. Like streaming defenses week to week. I know all 3 of us, we did that, and it's like you got the mad scientist stream of the week. And how many times was that like a top 5 defense?
Yeah,
Yes,
all the time. And you know what? See you, dude. What's so crazy is that I was like looking at playoff schedule, and I got some defenses towards the end of the year, and I didn't start streaming, and that actually cost me. Is like because I stopped streaming and I tried to keep with these defenses that were doing really well, and like the Redskins team just fell apart.
Yeah.
And it's like that really fucked me in a lot of playoffs. So it's like that was something I learned this year is just, dude, I'm gonna stream defenses till the end. Like I'm over it. Like if I don't have, like you said, stumble upon a Bears defense or Jaguars defense like the previous years, I'm gonna just keep streaming throughout the entire year, because that holding out for playoffs thing really fucked me in like 2 leagues this year.
Yeah. Yeah, you just like play the matchups week to week, and I mean, like I said, sometimes if you stumble on a good defense, hold them, and then maybe you can do the matchups down the stretch, in the playoffs and stuff like that. So,
Right.
I
don't know.
anything else? Kickers are the worst fucking thing. I think kickers need to be banned from fantasy football.
They shouldn't have them. So dumb.
They shouldn't have them because it's like 1 week Kai Fairbairn or whatever it is gets 22 points.
Yeah.
And then the next week he gets like 3. And it's like, how many times have you realistically like been fucked because your whole team just goes off, and then like your kicker gets you like 2 points, 3 points, even 4 points because the offense scored 28 points. They got 4 extra points. Your kicker puts up 4 points. This kicker on the other side puts up like 17, and you lose by 2 or something. Something stupid. And it's like, bro, because the kickers, I think I'm all about no kicker, extra flex.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, it really does screw you. I hate the kicker thing too. It's just so unpredictable, man.
It really is.
You just really can't. You can't figure it out. Chris Boswell kills it in 2017. This year they signed him big ass contract. Dude can't even make a field goal.
Yeah.
Can't even make a PAT, dude. He's missing PATs. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm 100% with you. There's no real advice to give you on that one.
It's just like even like week to week, some of these experts, they come out with the rankings that week for the kicker, and it's like, bro, how can you really break down a kicker's ranking?
No,
like,
yeah, you
I
can't.
think this kicker's going to be the number one kicker this week. Like,
I mean,
how
the
he
only-
is so unpredictable.
The only thing you can look at for kickers is like I look at is just if they're playing in a dome, if they're playing indoors,
yeah,
less wind, there's less, stuff like that. That's the only, like, look at the weather.
that's about it. Yeah,
I mean, otherwise it's
yeah.
you
Let's
can't.
petition no kickers, extra flex.
No kickers, extra flex. I'm with it. Anything else you want to add besides that?
Nah, that's it. So I think we're just gonna be trying to keep these episodes going.
Yeah, we're gonna be a little more creative in the off season, just because it's not much to talk about. Because it's not like next week. Oh, we have a game to look at and play fantasy football. No, there's nothing happening. So
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, once the draft comes through, and after the draft, I think that's when we'll start to get on it again.
Yeah.
You see what teams are drafting a quarterback, certain trades, free agency is going to come around. You see what players are getting picked up in free agency. All that stuff. What coaching schemes. What coaches are going from what team to what team and stuff like that. So once we figure all that out, it's a lot easier to break down the next season coming up.
yeah, well, yeah, there's some things we're gonna do too. That I would want us to do. It's like do live streams. Certain goals that we just kind of missed out on last year. We want to really finesse this podcast this upcoming year, and I think we will. So stay tuned. I mean, shoot, the average bro's getting professional over here, dude. Dad. So follow us on Instagram, like you said earlier, avidbros_fantasy_football. Look out on YouTube because I'm gonna set this up so we can start live streaming, and I will get the soundboard set up, but I'm gonna put it right in front of me so I can fuck with you guys. Maybe I won't. I don't know.
Pick them up.
Pick them up and other tags. Yeah, that's all I got for you. Anthony left already because he had to go to work. Like a little idiot. Dude, who works for other people,
Dude, I know it's.
Oh, wait, I do. Shit.
Wait,
You do
I
too.
do too.
Damn it. Well, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of it. We're there. Listen up, idiots. And that's us. That's us out. Average Bros. I don't know how to end this. I haven't done this in a while.
Deuces.
Peace out.